Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Good morning and welcome to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, November 11. In Squiz Kids today, Remembrance Day explained. The pooches bound for the White House. State of Origin kicks off again, and England's little drummer girl. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
At 11 o'clock this morning, wherever you might be, whatever you might happen to be doing, there's a good chance you'll be asked to stop and observe a minute's silence to mark Remembrance Day. So, what is it and why is it important? At 11 a.m. on the 11th of November, way back in 1918, the guns fell silent on the Western Front, a famous battleground that stretched through France and Belgium during the First World War. Up until that moment, there had been almost continuous fighting for 4 whole years. A staggering 20 million soldiers and civilians were killed during the war that was to end all wars. Such was the horror. Not long after, Allied forces, which included Australian troops, declared victory over the Germans and their allies, who ultimately accepted an unconditional surrender. Because of the scale of the sacrifice by so many men and women, because so many went to war then and afterwards to fight for many of the freedoms that you and I take for granted today, we stop every year at 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month to pause, reflect, and commemorate those who died in war.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Washington, D.C., in the White House, to be specific, where the official residence of the President of the United States is preparing to welcome a couple of new doggy residents. When President-elect Joe Biden moves into the White House at the end of January to start his 4-year term as America's next president, he will take with him his 2 pet German shepherds, Champ and Major. The Biden family have had Champ for 12 years, and they adopted Major from a rescue shelter 2 years ago. The pair of pooches are already Insta-famous, having had their own social media account for years and a Twitter following of some 10,000. There's a link in today's episode notes to photos of the dogs. There's been a long tradition of presidential pets in the White House, with every president for the last 100 years, except for Donald Trump, bringing a family pet with him into the famous residence.
Sport time!
Roll up to the greatest sporting clash on the rugby league calendar, as the second State of Origin match kicks off tonight. The Origin has returned to New South Wales after playing its first match in Adelaide last week, a match in which the Queensland Maroons beat the odds to go up 1-0 in the best-of-3 series. The New South Wales Blues will be looking to even the score tonight and set up a decider in Brisbane for next Wednesday. All eyes in New South Wales are on Blues halfback and Penrith Panther Nathan Cleary, who it's hoped will find form for the big match. While in the Queensland camp, North Queensland cowboy Valentine Holmes will be making his debut as fullback for the Maroons. Popcorn is at the ready.
Pop Culture Corner.
A 10-year-old girl from England has set the internet abuzz with her epic drum battles with one of rock and roll's most famous drummers. Nandi Bushell started posting videos of herself playing drums to Foo Fighters songs. The Foo Fighters are a very famous rock band. The band's founder and lead singer is a famous bloke called Dave Grohl, who first became famous for being the drummer in another very famous band called Nirvana. Ask an adult about them. Anyway, when Dave saw Nandi's videos on YouTube, he made contact, and once she had gotten over the shock, she challenged him to an online drum battle, and the results are epic. But who wins the drum-off in the battle between the 10-year-old girl and the 50-year-old rocker? There's a link in today's episode notes. You be the judge.
Rosie's Recipes.
Every second Wednesday, we stick our head into the Squiz Kids kitchen to see what Squiz Kids ambassador Rosie has been cooking this week. And this week, she's been baking a recipe sent to her by Oliver in Western Australia. They're Oliver's Choc Chip Blondies, a gooey, sugary, cakey delight. Super easy to make and even easier to eat. Rosie's tip, for anyone wanting to try the recipe: don't let your older brother near the mixmaster unless you want flour all over the kitchen. The recipe, including photos of the process and the flour disaster, are all on the Squiz Kids website. And if you have a recipe you'd like Rosie to try, send it on in to us at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au.
Time for the Squiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What special day is it today commemorating the end of hostilities on the World War I battleground, the Western Front? That's right, it's Remembrance Day. Question number 2. Name one of the 2 dogs heading to the White House with Joe Biden. Yeah, it's Major and Champ. Question number 3. What's the name of the famous rock band that singer-drummer Dave Grohl leads? You got it, it's the Foo Fighters.
Shout-outs.
It's November 11, birthday of Hollywood actor Leonardo DiCaprio. It's also only 44 sleeps until Christmas. Ding dong merrily on high. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Sam from Tumut, Freddie from Proserpine, Marley from Inverell, Arush from South Wentworthville, Eva from Tuggerah, Byron from Lisarow, Kendall from Yass, Talitha from Orange, Lexi from Redlinch, James from Jindalee, Hannah from Denham Court, Jordan from Doncaster, Matthew from the Sunshine Coast, Flynn from Honiara in the Solomon Islands, and Sujin all the way from Discovery Bay in Hong Kong. And some belated birthday shout-outs go to Michael from Warunga, Tucker from Potts Point, Sky from Port Stephens, Tadashi from Perth, and Elsie from Melbourne. And today's classroom shout-outs go to 45MR from Windsor Public School, Ms Gallagher and 56G at Quakers Hill Public School, 5F and Mrs Fisher at Putney Public School, Class 5B with Miss Waugh at St Kevin's College, Mr G and 56G at Mandama Primary School, and Class S12 at Surfside Primary School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.